G'day and welcome to another edition of RDFNL TV, looking ahead of the pre-season, all the excitement that's happening in the off-season, all the clubs across the RDFNL. My name's Yeendy, I'm joined by Tara Murray. We're getting ready to look at Macedon, a club that has been a powerhouse across senior football and A-grade netball for a number of years now. Certainly some great things happening behind the scenes, and hopefully they can rebuild and the senior footy can bounce back up there and contest again, and hopefully the netball can look at that quest for back-to-back premierships.
Obviously, yeah, you look, they've both been up there. Football, I don't necessarily think they have to rebuild, but they need to get better on what they did last year. They did bring through a lot of players, having lost a couple of premiership players from the year before. So they have lost a little bit of experience yet again. They do lose Casey Summerfield, who is one of 3 RDFL players. We'll talk about the other 2 later on, who is heading back to Gisborne. They've lost Errol McConnell and they've lost Jonathan Barnett. So that's 3 core players out of that group, and a lot of class out of that midfield when you lose Casey Summerfield and Errol McConnell, even though both did miss a number of games this year. So it has allowed them to develop some of those younger ones. I know Zach Smedley was one that we spoke about who really took that next step in the midfield. So for them, reading that there was a story in another local paper this week that they need to get fitter. Yep. And that was the thing that they were shown out at times during finals, that they need to get fitter so they can match it with those top sides for longer and better. They have brought in Carl Stort, who comes from Ocean Grove, but he's a 2-time premiership player in the EDFL. So they have added one. They'll probably look to add a couple more, you'd say, a little bit more midfield depth with losing a couple key players from that. But they do have a lot of good signs. They did have a good... They knocked off some of the best sides in the competition during finals, and when they're hot, they were really hot.
Absolutely, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, missing Casey Summerfield, going back to Gisborne, which, to be honest, is probably not much of a surprise, and then losing Errol McConnell. But those are the 2 big names that didn't really appear too much in the 2018 season. Giving those younger guys, even young Watkins having that opportunity, Zach Smedley, like these younger guys are able to establish themselves. I think that's fantastic for them going forward. I still think the key for them is if, and I'm not entirely up to date with what's going on, but if Matt Dick and Dan Markworth, if they're on board next year, I can still see that list having that hunger to go forward again.
Exactly, and look, they'll probably be disappointed with how the season ended. They showed some really positive signs in the finals, and like you mentioned, Geordie Watkins, they put him on a wing and just told him to run in one of the finals, and he absolutely dominated. So, and you mentioned Dick and Markworth, that's the class of that side. You've got 2 players who were on AFL lists, and you can put them up forward, put them down back, and then you put them in the middle, and they've got that talent. And you keep if Tommy Waters stays there, obviously he was another Gisborne guy. If he stays there, you've got one of the best ruckmen, if not the best ruckman in the competition. So they've still got a lot of key players there without even adding anyone else. So it'll be interesting who they look to add. And for them, it's, they need to take that step up. They probably didn't have the best off-season last season as well. So they need to get back to basics and getting back to what they've done the last couple of years. And I can see them remaining one of the favourites for next season. And
obviously with a change of coach from the premiership year into 2018, and probably maybe a little bit delayed in the preparations there. But the great man Alan Eads, he's got a full pre-season with him now, and I think he'll be fine with that group and be able to do a lot more with them and what he wants to get out of them.
Yeah, exactly. Ben was appointed later in the process last season, and some of their more experienced players didn't come back till after Christmas because they'd had so many tough seasons trying to get up and get that premiership, and they did that. So look, I'm expecting to see some of those guys on the track pretty early, keen to get into next season and hopefully step back up.
Sustained success has been a massive key for Macedon Football Netball Club in recent years, and the A-grade side, well, they're doing all the right things at the moment, coming off the premiership and looking to build again for another crack at the title in 2019.
They finally got that premiership, so I know it's been a few years in the making. I think they went out in straight sets the season before, was disappointing, and I think they played in 2 grand finals the previous seasons before that. So I think it was 3 grand finals in 4 years, and the year they didn't make it, they had finished on top of the ladder and didn't drop a match during the regular season. So they've been the most successful A-grade side in recent years. You mentioned that their B-grade side also made the grand final, and I think their Cs and their 19s were both up there as well and went deep into finals. So they've got a lot of depth across that netball program. You've got Kira Stewart, who I think is still coaching on. Well, she's the contact for the netball trials, so that tells me she's still coaching on. And looking at it, they've said there's only limited A-grade spots. So to me, that tells me they're keeping most of their A-grade side together yet again, which means they're going to have a strong side and be probably the favourite heading into next season.
Do you think they could bring in another gun recruit to sort of stock up again? I mean, Amy Carroll was the big talk last year when she went over there, and obviously she didn't finish out the season. But will we see any other names sort of wanting to be a part of it, do you think?
Well, you look, they had Ty Coppinger, who didn't even play the grand final, who was one of the players of the season, and she can play in defence or in the mid-court. So they've still got a little bit of flexibility, whether, as you said, maybe another goaler. I know Caitlin Alfredo didn't play a lot of goals, but she can step into the goal circle if needed, if they're going to keep a similar lineup. So whether they go for another goaler, and that allows Kira to step back a bit and maybe coach it a little bit from the sidelines, or step into the mid-court as we've seen her do before. So it'll be interesting there. But yeah, it looks like they're going to keep a pretty similar lineup, I'd say. Spot
on there. They get another goal. I'll look out. There'll be more headaches for opposition defenders going forward. Of course, the netball trials with taking place on November 17, but they're loading up. They're getting ready for another big season. Tara, thanks so much for jumping on board, and that has been a bit of an insight in how the Macedon Football Netball Club senior footy and A-grade netball sides shaping up ahead of the 2019 season.